Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, you're in the right place. You probably already figured out from that title down below that today is a story time. This is actually a collab. This is a collab with a group that I'm an administrator in, and it's called Purposeful Business Women. It's a really great group to help other women be motivated to grow in business, the word of God, relationships, all of that. And it's more importantly, it's about supporting one another. So if you guys are interested, I'll have a link to that down below. It's a Facebook group. But if not, I'll let you guys hang tight for the video. The topic is domestic violence. And domestic violence is something I'm very passionate about. As most of you guys know, I work in girls ministry. I love girls ministry. I love women's ministry. And domestic violence is very unspoken about, especially in the Black community, like many other topics. Another name for domestic violence is intimate partner violence. I went to college, as you guys know, and I studied quite a bit about domestic violence, so I am very knowledgeable on the subject. Oh, one of my babies are awake. Hold on. So I'm going to talk about domestic violence, my own personal story from two different point of views. And one of that is going to be growing up in a very, very violent home. And then also my experiences with domestic violence as an adult, well, as a teenager. So let's take it from the top. So when I was a kid, I lived with my parents and my grandmother quite a bit. I went back and forth all the time. You know, it would be like I'd live with my grandma for a year, and I would live with my parents. And because one thing about my parents is they were very, very young. As some of you guys know, my mom had me when she was 14 years old. She was a teen mom. My dad was like 15 or 16. They were very young throughout the course of their relationship. But one thing I can remember very vividly is that my parents would fight. And it was a lot of times, I would say physically wise, the aggressor was my mom. She would throw things at my dad. She would hit him with irons and pans and just all types of things. And I'm not saying, well, I'm going to say he didn't deserve it, because nobody ever deserves to be hit or abused. But it just was a very violent home. They fought a lot in front of us. We saw it all the time. We would see like one person get kicked out. We would see clothes be thrown. Like, it was just, violence was a very normal part of my life. To see my parents fight like that, it seemed very normal. And I honestly thought that everybody's house was like that. Like, I thought all kids just fought all the time. And I don't know, it's because I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up and I didn't know there was such thing as happy families. Or what, but that's just all I ever saw. I saw a lot of just anger in my home and fighting growing up. And that was probably between ages of like 5 and 10. Around the time I got to be about maybe 12 or 13, my parents were completely divorced. My father had a child with another woman, you know, and I had my first boyfriend. So I got my first boyfriend when I was 13 years old. He was about 15, and he lived in my neighborhood, and I really, really loved him. It was my first time having a boyfriend, and I just like adored him. And the relationship became very toxic after the first 6 months. And I think one of the first things I noticed is that he never wanted me to talk to any of my friends. He never wanted me to be around any of my friends. He really wanted to isolate me. And one thing I do know as being an adult is isolation is one of the first like signs of a violent relationship. So he really wanted me to be with him all the time. And even I know my best friend Akila, who she's a YouTuber as well. Her channel's name is Life of Lady Bam. I'm sure she can attest to it being true. He didn't even like her, and she never did anything to him. He didn't want me to be around anybody but him. And that was hard. Then things would happen, like he would like make me cry in public, like just do like humiliating things to me, and I would just like sit on the bus and like cry the whole way home. And everyone would just be like, girl, wow, you so cute and all that stuff, why are you with him? But I really, really loved him. And also we had begun to have sex. So we were in a sexual relationship. I mean, of course, well, not of course, but we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and we were having sex. And I basically would let him do anything he wanted to me. Like if he, you know, and the thing is, one thing a lot of people don't know is domestic violence has a lot of different forms. It can be verbal, it can be emotional, it can be mental, it can be physical, it can be financial. I mean, there are so many forms of intimate partner violence, domestic violence. So for me, he would constantly like be financially abusive to me. And everybody's like, okay, you're 15. What does that mean? Whoa, you're too cute to be here for this story. But what that meant was he would literally take my paychecks. Like, and I'm 15, 16 years old working at McDonald's. And he would be like, you know, give me all of your money. I'm going to go buy me an Xbox. And I was doing that. I was giving him my entire paycheck to do whatever he want with it. I had none of it. And then what I was lying to my parents. And those are all signs of those are all just signs of like violent relationships, because it's like I had to lie to my friends, lie to my parents. I was lying to my parents. They were asking me, why don't you ever have any money? And I was like, I'm saving all of my money to get a car. So they assumed that I had like this jar full of like $1,000 or however much that was going to go towards a car. And the thing is, I had never saved any money. I didn't save any money because I was giving it to him because I really felt forced. I felt coerced. He would tell me things like, I will kill you if you don't give me the money, or I will kill myself. That is one of the most common things. You know, he would say things like, if you love me, you would give me this money. And anytime relationships are coerced by violence and pain and coercion and threats and things like that, that's a violent relationship. That's not a healthy relationship. And that was really the extent of our relationship, he would tell me. And then after the kind of financial abuse stopped, because what eventually came to happen is my mom actually started getting my paychecks deposited into her bank account, and I would have to basically withdraw from her to get my money. And at the time I was like, she's so mean. But I really look back and say my mom was really just trying to really help me and protect me from being in like this cycle of just a really unhealthy relationship. So after that, you know, and the thing is, usually violent abusers kind of escalate where they are. So the thing is, when he couldn't kind of like do that anymore, he moved on to something else, and then our relationship became very like sexually violent. And I guess I didn't really understand that concept in that time, but one thing is, I was basically being forced to have sex the same. So eventually I just became to a place where I was basically being coerced to have sex, in the same manner as the finances. He would say things like, if you don't do this, then I will kill myself, and if you don't do this, I will leave you and I won't be with you, and I don't care if you don't want to do this, this is what you have to do, you know. And the thing is, I really believed him. I believed all those things. I believed he would kill himself. I believed he would hurt me. I believed all of those things. And more importantly, I really loved him and I wanted to be with him. And the really amazing thing is, I really believe how long God has had a covering over me, because one day I just woke up and I was like, I don't want to date you anymore. I don't care what you do. Bye. It was like just woke up one day and it was like that. And the reason why, even though that was such a painful time in my life, it doesn't make me sad to even think about that. I mean, the only part that really makes me sad is like I missed out on a lot of my like childhood, like teenage years. Like he wouldn't allow me to cheer. I wasn't allowed to go to basketball, but he literally had like a dominion over my life. To the extent that my parents didn't even know about. But because I really have been delivered from those things, I just don't have any hard feelings towards him. And his life really turned out to be kind of sucky, and I really feel bad for him. I really wish that God would really put his hand upon him and, you know, save him like everybody. But that was hard. That was hard. And one of the things that I really wanted to say to a lot of people, I know everybody isn't a Christian, but I am. And I believe in the Bible. I believe in biblical concepts, and I have a biblical worldview. One of the reasons why I couldn't leave this man, and why a lot of women can't leave men that are not healthy for them, whether it's abusive or not, but just toxic relationships that have no value to them for the future, is we become digmatized. And what digmatized means is, very simply, is the soul tie. So I got the word digmatized from the Queens of Comedy. It's a really funny skit. If I could throw it in here right where I'll insert it.
When you let him drive your car and you know he ain't got no license.
But it is literally so true. It's like when your soul becomes tied to somebody through sex, because that's the way God created it. God created sex to, I have like a little, oh, it's getting, my camera's getting hot. So my camera's gonna cut off. But when God, you know, created sex, he made it to you be bonded to another person. When you start to bond your spirit to the wrong person, nothing good can come of it. So anyways, you guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you guys have any comments or any questions, leave those down below. And guess what? I will see you guys tomorrow. And don't forget, I am doing Facebook Live every single day of the week for the next 30 days. Every single day for 30 days. So make sure you go follow me on my Facebook page at signqc.com. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.